Hey, I am a Revision Geek and I want you to come and join my Revision Geek world. Welcome to the Diaries of a Revision Geek. I cannot wait for you to watch these interviews. They are so super fun. I've got qualified accountants together talking about their revision journeys, the highs, the lows, the struggles, and all the things in between about how other people got their plaque up on the wall and how they got qualified. I've picked qualified accountants in my LinkedIn network on purpose to help and support you guys, to inspire and motivate you if you are on your accounting journey. Feel free to like and subscribe below for more. Just click on the icons and I will keep you up to date with the Diaries of a Revision Geek. Let's get started. For today's Diaries of a Revision Geek, we have Krystle. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Great to have you. I'm very excited. As always, I keep repeating that word. But yeah, I'm so excited about learning about somebody new, another Revision Geek in our world. So feel free to introduce yourself.
Yes, Krystle McGilvery, so CIMA qualified, chartered accountant. I currently work as a finance consultant and finance mentor, and I'm also a trustee on several charities.
Well, that's exciting. I'm going to delve into that where we can as well, for sure. So we have another CIMA geek with us today, which is very exciting. So when did you qualify?
I qualified back in 2015, I think it was December.
Good. So you've been qualified for a while. I qualified in 2013. Yeah, I celebrated my 9-year CIMA anniversary the other day. Yeah.
Yes. A bit longer than me.
A little bit. But I'm looking forward to hearing about your revision journey. So let's get straight into that. Tell me about your CIMA journey.
Well, let's see if I remember. I was quite intense with it, actually. I think my personality anyway is when I do something, I really dive in and I'm quite tunnel vision and really focused. So that kind of made the journey, I wouldn't say easy because it wasn't easy, but I had a structure and I followed it and I was very strict. So literally I had my routine planned out and I executed that every day, back to back. Yeah.
So going back to before we'll talk about that for sure, but going back to the very first point, that what made you choose CIMA? What did you want to do CIMA for?
Well, if I'm honest, naively, I wasn't aware of the full suite of qualifications that were available. So including ACA, knew a bit about ACCA, but I knew I definitely wanted to stay on the more management, profit driving side of the business. So CIMA stuck out for that. And I was working in a PR agency at the time. So I didn't want to go to the, work in an accountancy firm. So I was working there unqualified, just, as an assistant. And I started to think, actually, this stuff is kind of interesting. It's a fun environment, everybody's dressing up really fancy and I could be an accountant. So yeah, I dived in and was like, let's go for it.
That's good. How long did your journey take you?
Oh, was it 2? I think it might have been 2 years. I think it might have been 2 years if I remember correctly. And actually, back to the original question just now, I studied CIMA in hopes of becoming a management consultant. Actually, that was my long-term vision.
And we'll see if you got there. And that was a quick journey, 2 years. I never say people can do it in 2 years, but that's great that you did. And with your tunnel vision, talk us through your tunnel vision then. What made you, let me ask this different question. So with your tunnel vision skill, what made you get through that in 2 years?
Then literally, what did I do?
Sure.
Yeah, so I built a schedule. So I literally broke down my day and allocated certain days to specific tasks and what I was going to study. And I draw as well. So I got, my pens out, highlighted things, and drew up a really nice timetable when it came to, nearing towards exams. And I kind of shut off the outside world, if I'm honest. I guess I was young enough that that was okay. So I became very strict. All my friends were going out partying, but I was like, nope, I can't go anywhere. This is what I'm doing for the next couple of months. And then after that, I had a little bit of a release. So I just became really quite regimented and just stuck to my schedule and built in little treats, whether they would be snacks or something along the way.
I did have a feeling, I don't want to lead you to any answers, but I had a feeling you might say that was you cut out some of the outside world, because to do the CIMA qualification from start to finish in that length of time, you have to have certain commitments and certain dedication, I believe, and that was obviously one of them for sure. Did you have any exemptions, or did you do all of the exams?
I did have some exemptions. So I did finance at university, so that allowed me to start a little bit further down the line, which was good and helpful. I think it was the tunnel vision that really helped.
And for anybody that would like a little bit more tunnel vision, is there any techniques that you say or habits that you would recommend?
Yes, I think, and it's funny because I'm obviously studying now again, and definitely having breaks. So I think I am overconfident in thinking that I can study, right? I'm committing 3-4 hours to just study in a chunk. Actually, that doesn't work. It's really taxing on the brain. So, breaking it up into small, maybe 25-minute, depending on what works for you, small chunks, and literally stepping away from the computer or, the books, and making a cup of tea or grabbing a biscuit. And also, and I don't know if you've heard this before, but definitely having some snacks by my side that I literally just sat there snacking, literally reading, snacking, writing, and that really helped. It's almost, for me, I think it was almost like a little habit that kept me going, just knowing that I could just, write again. It sounds crazy, but I just remember always having crackers, or was it custard creams by a book.
No, I think that's I would say that's a distraction technique, but a positive one, because so that you weren't fully distracted by everything, but it was just the food thing, and it kept your brain busy, but not in a way that consumed your brain. I've talked about this with one of my other interviews. He listened to music and had a certain drink, sugary drink, for the same purpose. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and actually thinking of my studying I'm doing now, I have to have music. You just mentioned that I have to have music in the background that drowns everything out, and even down to my phone now, because I'm also working at the same time as I'm studying. I literally put my phone on silent, disconnect it from the watch, put it in the next room, and commit and make it very clear that I'm committing for this set period of time. Then after that, I can reward myself. And I think knowing that the reward's coming really helps me continue, as opposed to just saying I'm going to study this evening and let's go.
Yeah, I don't think that approach works for lots of people, to be like, oh yeah, I'll do some things tonight for 3 hours. I would rather people pick, I'm going to do this one thing for 30 minutes and get it done, and you'll feel so much stronger and better for it.
Yeah, because then you've specifically completed a task and you can celebrate that, as opposed to I'm going to do some stuff. You're not really going to feel the reward afterwards. No,
especially in the revision phase, which I coach on a lot. There's certain things to do in a month to repeat and to do and to repeat on purpose, because you're sitting in exam, guys. You're not just learning stuff.
Yeah, agree 100%. Yeah.
So talk me through your study, how you studied. Did you use a tuition provider? Did you self-study?
I used Kaplan for a bit, and then BPP. I think BPP were the main people that I used. I think for some of the certificate level, I did one maybe by myself, and I got the thick textbook and I read it back to back, front to back. I wish I hadn't, because it's not necessary. But yeah, later on, using those two really helped me dive into what I needed to learn, as opposed to learning absolutely everything and it being excruciating. And yeah, just followed through those processes and what they taught.
And what kind of learning did you have? Was it classrooms? Was it on-demand videos?
It was classrooms. Yeah, it was classrooms. So I went and was with a class of students, and that helped as well. That was nice, being around other people who were also studying. So, you know, you could relate and kind of study together as well.
Do you think that benefited your revision journey to help it be 2 years?
Yeah, definitely, because knowing that someone else is going through the same thing, and I think, you know, back to I think what you mentioned in terms of me, I was, you know, first time passes for everything, and I think it helped to know that there was somebody else that if I didn't understand something, there's someone there to call. You know, if you're any kind of studying, I guess if you're doing it on your own completely, there's less people to lean on to get that, you know, interpretation that you're missing out on or whatever it may be. So definitely, if you can.
Yeah, and I'm intrigued. Oh, I'm so intrigued with something. So for you said with your tunnel vision, there was some distractions that you luckily were able to switch off on for that period. Would you say, again, I don't want to assume anything, but would you say that you were able to switch off other people's voices and opinions around that in the classroom as well? Because I know some of my students, rightfully or wrongfully, soak up other people's opinions, and it does negatively affect them. So how did you cope with that?
And just to double check, opinions about kind of social life or ways of studying, where are the opinions mainly lying?
I guess, yeah, more because I feel like in a group of people, there's some people who are at different skill levels and at different confidence levels. So if you are the most confident in the class and you're surrounded by people who are not as confident, and I don't mean this personally for anyone, guys, it's just a group truth thing. Yeah. Like I wouldn't want them to, I wondered if those negatively affected your journey, or if you had to do anything to really stay tunnel vision focused with those voices as well, because I feel like they could trigger or like poke or like come in from all the angles if your brain let them.
It's a good question. Actually, I think of the main person I connected with when I was studying, he was I thought he, you know, did better than me. So actually his higher level of confidence was a positive influence on me. And I think it's a personality trait thing, because I'm not very negative anyway. So I wouldn't, if I didn't get something, I'm very much so like, I will get it, I just haven't got it yet, as opposed to doom and gloom, that's it. And I think the same now. I think, yes, we can be quite sensitive to people around us and what they say. So it's kind of a conscious act to know that and know when actually, let me step away here, because it's starting to make me feel a bit, and it's not going to help me produce the best that I can produce. So again, also linking it back to now, yeah, same thing. There are some people around me that can say stuff and get quite panicky and worried, and it's like, I don't want to hear that. I want to stay in, you know, positive space and continue that. So yeah, you have to be very conscious, I think.
Yeah, conscious is a good skill to have. I'm glad they didn't influence you in that way. So talk me through about your first time passes. Congratulations, that is a great achievement. What was the reasons would you attribute to why you got first time passes?
It's a good question. And I remember trying to answer one similar like that to that a while back about a different topic. I think there's a lot of weight in the fact that I do very well at being quite strict with myself. So during my CIMA time, and if you were to ever speak to any of my friends at the time, everybody knows that I cut off the world. I really did for that period. You know, when there was, like I said, friends, you know, doing the girly holidays, I didn't go if it was at that time. And I think because I could see quite clearly the benefit of me passing quickly and, you know, the pay rise that come along the journey, I was very clear about that. And my whole career journey, I was very clear about, I'm going to be quite aggressive and I really want to push and climb and grow. So like I remember when I think I passed another level or something, and I remember having a conversation with my boss, hey, I want to do more. And actually, I'm qualified too. So I think having that really clear vision of where it is I'm trying to get to, compounded with being quite strict, really allowed me to just really go deep and focus, turn off the phone, eat the snacks. And also I was living with my mother at the time, and my brother, I think, and communicating that with them as well. So looking back, I feel quite bad, but the front room was mine. So the front room dining table for those, you know, that period that I was preparing for exams was covered in books and nobody could come in there. So I think communicating that with the people you live with and just really being quite, I guess, selfish at that time.
Would you say, I'm intrigued about your knowledge base then, would you say that, I hate the word easy, but were you academically strong in finance? Did you have like a great knowledge base which supported you, or did you have to really, really, really learn it to have that foundation?
There were some things that really made my brain work. And I remember, I think it was the, me trying to remember, the legal module, what's that called? The, we learn about legal bits. And I remember the first time I went to that class, I was like, no, I don't understand any of this. No, my brain just completely shut down. But so yeah, there were some that I did struggle with. And I guess because of my finance background, definitely on the finance, you know, number crunching stuff, I was like, yeah, this is great. But as it built, it did become more taxing. And that's where I guess I just leaned into people, you know, with a friend I had, to try and get through it, really.
I talk about the revision journey and my CIMA journey being an emotional roller coaster quite a lot. And I just think if you're a first time passer, or if you failed most of your exams like me and took 6 years, then it's still an emotional roller coaster, I feel like. And and with that comes highs and lows, right? So do you want to talk to us about your highs and lows? So let's start with your lows.
I think, so although I was a first time passer, not all of my results are great. So some of them are just passes, but still it's a first time pass, so I should be happy. And I think, you know, as you would know, not getting a great result is sad, and it does knock your confidence, especially when you have to try and figure out, okay, why did that happen? What did I do wrong? What did I not understand? Especially if I have to carry that knowledge to the next level. And yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, I definitely take it. It hits me hard. When I don't do well, I feel it. And again, back to now, if I do bad in some kind of test, yes, I feel it, because, you know, I've put my all into this. I've committed. Doing a CIMA qualification or doing a master's or anything, as an adult, you're doing it because you want to. It's not like being up to the age of 18 where you have to go to school. You've actually decided, I'm going to commit my time, my effort, I'm going to sacrifice to do this. And then I've done badly. Like, that's a bit of a slap. So yeah, there were some lows. And I think you just have to go for that process of kind of talking to yourself or talking to someone you trust who can help encourage you to pick you back up and say, okay, I'm going to go again.
Yeah. I mean, failing is obviously an easy low to talk about, but I failed some of my exams with some awful percentages as well. So yeah, definitely had to pick myself up as a resitter. I talk about resitter confidence in a different way than exam confidence, because you do have to. But feels like would you say you beat yourself up if you just passed, or do you feel like looking back now you didn't as much as it maybe sounds like?
I did, because I'd want to have good results. I'd want to have a high mark. I think, you know, rewinding back to school, GCSEs, I did really good. I did really well at school. So not so good at college, actually. And I think, you know, whatever happened at school for me to be great, it was like, yeah, so this is the standard. You know, I'm always going to be great somewhat easily. You know, it was quite effortless when I was at secondary school. But then college was really tough. You know, studying maths was really tough. So yeah, having a dip, because I guess I had that base where actually I'd done really well, you know, at my first kind of serious exams, that kind of still exists within me. So, you know, just getting a pass is like, what does that mean? What's going on here? Are you okay? So yeah, definitely beat myself up 100%.
Oh, see, we all do it as well. It's so normal. Our revision journeys. If I don't want people to automatically think, oh, she's a first-time passer, she did it in 2 years. Oh my God, she's amazing. Obviously, it's congratulations to anyone who qualifies. But yeah, it's so similar. There's some similar emotions for all of us.
Yeah, totally. It's a real thing. We're human. You know, we have judgments of ourselves and others. It's part of the journey. I think it's rare for maybe someone not to beat themselves up, especially in this kind of situation. So yes.
That was some of your lows. So talk us through some of your high moments.
I think you know, passing on to the next level or finishing. I think my biggest actually would have been the final assessment. You know, passing that is it, right? And that's great fun. And I think definitely when it's a module, it was a module that was really difficult. But I remember I said there was some that actually I was like, this is not getting into my head. What is going on here? And I'm having to really, really put a lot of effort into it. And passing those ones, I think, was real. You did that. You did that. So that was really nice.
You did that. I mean, I show off my plaque all the time. I don't know if you have that in your house and show off your plaque, but it's such an achievement. You got it. We got this, Yeah,
I don't. I should. Every now and then I see it and I'm like, oh yeah, that's me. Should.
So, that's super exciting. Thank you for talking through your revision journey. One thing I've been asking everybody is, when you first started your CIMA, what opportunities and rewards did you think would come from?
I think, so I obviously went to university and then fell into the advertising PR world, doing finance type stuff, admin type stuff, and then kind of let go of the thought of becoming an accountant. So I didn't dream of becoming an accountant when I was at university. I actually said throughout my whole degree, I'm not going to be an accountant. Oh, no way. But that's where I went. But I think as I got into that space and I was like, I quite enjoy it here. Still in the back of my mind, not wanting to be an accountant, wanting to be a management consultant. I think I thought that doing CIMA would allow me to go into that quite immediately. But actually, given the work I was doing, that's not exactly the direct route. So it was a bit of miseducation, or, not that someone educated me about that, maybe I made it up. I think that was my first thought.
And obviously you've been qualified for a few years now. So talk us through some of the opportunities and rewards that you have come, because I really want to inspire and motivate people to realise, like, there's so many amazing things. So what are your rewards that have come so far?
Where do I start? Okay, so I think I was working as I think it was assistant management accountant, or something below that. But I was in a position where I was working, doing the accounts for a small company. So I was doing quite a few different areas of the business. So, like managing the whole P&L, at the basic level, paying people and doing quite a few different areas as opposed to being quite silo in one department. And I really enjoyed that. And that was before I even started studying. And then as I started studying, and obviously, like I said, along with my study, I kind of moved around a little bit, but that allowed me to move into roles because I had that knowledge. And then quite quickly, I had a head of department role, which was a really huge jump for me, really scary, actually. But because of my qualification and I understood so much about the business, actually, it made sense. Steep learning curve. Again, I'm going to say again, very scary, but it was a great opportunity. And then just continuing that in terms of what I do now. Now I do consultancy. So I work with founders and businesses, I'm self-employed. And again, understanding the whole, element of a business and all the different areas really has given me so much knowledge to be able to just, enjoy it, I think.
It's good. It's good. And you're doing your master's. So talk us through your master's, why you chose that. How's that helped? If your CIMA has helped at all with that?
So my master's is in behavioural and economic science. I always have to think twice before I say that long title. And that actually has come out of me working in companies which were quite young staff members, and I started to do like workshops and sessions and teach them about the business finances and personal finances, and just kind of have that whole educational piece and train up, account managers, etc., on, understanding that part of the business as well. And quite quickly, I saw that people understanding finance or being confident was a behavioural thing, not just, hey, you've got to be good at maths to understand this stuff. So outside of work, I started to do, personal finance coaching and work with people. And then I just kind of really got into it. And I thought, actually, I want to go so much deeper. So yeah, started doing my master's back in October, 1 year. So I'll be done any minute. But in terms of, the road that I'm trying to go down and what I'm doing in terms of working with founders, it's helping them with the business finances and actually considering them as an individual and their behaviours and their habits and their thoughts and their feelings, and combining that to get the best out of them as a founder or a director.
And again, I don't want to lead any answers because I don't know, but I'm just intrigued. Would you say that because you've got your CIMA qualification under your belt as your foundation, has that helped or hindered that, or had no effect at all?
If anybody said it didn't, oh my gosh, yes, 100%. With the work I do, especially on the business side, with founders, and I love that, especially with the times we're in now. And if I talk about the Great Resignation, with so many people starting businesses, my understanding about, so many different sides of the business, which is purely from CIMA, 100% helps with what I do. Definitely. Yes, very happy.
It's good. So good. CIMA has opened lots of doors to you.
Yeah.
Sounds like.
And again, as well, if we touch on me being a trustee for 2 charities, again, I'm a finance trustee. And that's, again, because I understand the suite when it comes to financials and what's involved.
Yes, I did forget to talk about that. I was a finance governor for a couple of schools as well. Because of my CIMA qualification, I was the finance lead on their governor board for sure, yeah. And I didn't know that would come, but it was just a lovely little voluntary thing I did, like to make a difference. People had a lovely, I hate the word expectation, but it's just that known finance leadership skill that we were taught in our CIMA exam that helped with their business. This happened to obviously be a school, but yeah, it can help in lots of voluntary ways with businesses, added value, right?
Yeah, definitely. And especially lots of charities, well, the ones I've come across, start without really having that finance lead, especially if it's someone who just wanted to do good and set up this organisation. So coming in with that understanding on the commercial side, especially if it's a kind of hybrid charity and it's got the commercial angle, that is so important for that type of charity, and bringing that knowledge in, so confidently and clearly, and giving them that different way of looking at the business. I think, yeah, it's really good.
It's good. There's lots of opportunities out there, right? So it's really good. Thank you very much. I would love just to ask you my final question. I give lots of revision tips on a daily basis on LinkedIn, and I call myself the Revision Geek. That's why we've got Diaries of a Revision Geek. But what would be your number one tip for any qualifying accountants listening?
Number one tip, I think it would be to pace yourself and plan. Planning as detailed as possible as to what you're going to achieve for that slot. So that, for me, that meant stepping back and thinking, what am I trying to do here between now and whatever date, and breaking that down. And I think, thinking back to the times I've not done that, I've struggled, and that's like a main difference. So I think that is a game changer.
And that's great, thank you. Would you have any tips on that? Because I feel like if somebody's listening to that and wants to be able to do it but they don't know how, would you be able to show any of your house? You obviously managed it really well, so how would you do that?
Yeah, so literally take, the content you need to learn, break it down into sections. Maybe if you can break it down into 10 different sections, or however many different topics that you need to cover, and then actually what it's maybe a second level, but I did actually look at how chunky those sections are. So if one is has quite a lot of content, or you might think, actually I need a bit more time on this, it's a bit difficult compared to the other parts, allocate more time to that section and literally divide that up over your period of time, and leave time at the end for you to revise it all and do some practice questions, and recap. So yeah, if it's a month, divide it by 4 weeks, allocate it, and have fun with bright colours. Highlight
and snacks.
And snacks.
And I would probably just add on to that, the important thing is, obviously I talk about a revision plan all the time. It's the most important revision tool for motivation and for revision, but the key is sticking to the plan.
Yes,
everybody can structure it like that, and I feel like we can be like, yeah, we can do that, but then sticking to the plan is the skill, and that's really what's important, guys. So you've got a plan, just follow it.
Yes, and that makes me think back to actually trying to be as realistic as possible about you and how you work. So leaving a bit of space to have a breather, and that I'm sure would help you stick to it, right?
And if you need longer than that time frame, luckily for CIMA students right now, you are flexible with your dates. Like when I did my exams, I was only in May and November. Yeah, and I had fixed weeks, and then we don't have that anymore. So please don't think you have to squeeze it into a time frame either. Like, pick what time frame works for you, and don't squeeze it in there. Have a buffer still, but structure it exactly the same, but just be kind to yourself that it doesn't have to happen in a month or that smaller time frame.
They won't have to be as strict as I was with my tunnel vision and quite aggressive, which is good.
But if you are, then see where you can be. Would you like to have finished your CIMA qualification in 2024, 2025, for example, guys, And if the answer is probably you want to finish it as quickly as you can, right?
Yes.
Thank you so much for being here and let me interview you in my little Revision Geek corner.
It's okay. Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
Super fun. Thank you. So if anybody wants to reach out and find you, where would you like people to find you?
I think the easiest is my KrystleMcGilvery.com website. So KrystleMcGilvery.com, or on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn as well, very active on there. I love chatting away, and I am on Instagram, but that's more for the business finance type stuff.
Great, thank you so much. It's been a great interview. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.